Alright, what's going on, guys? gdoggcasey here, bringing you another StarCraft 2 Heart of the Swarm replay here. This time we are featuring the Red Terran coming back for a second showing, representing Team Bearsloss. He is EATMYDICTION. And his opponent, the nasty villain for this matchup, the blue Zerg in the top left corner of Terraform. He is Wild. We got a TVZ Gold League matchup here between these two players. And I'm really excited to get into this. EATMYDICTION first appeared on the channel with a TVT that was quite a long one and really showcased his ability to sort of expand around the map. So that being said, I mean, that ability is going to be something that not a lot of Zergs really have to deal with, at least in my experience. Like, I've played against a couple Terrans who are really good about expanding all over the map, and when they do that, it's pretty confusing. It's hard to really realize what you should be doing. You know, I guess if you're playing Lingbane Muta, you should be harassing all the bases with your mutas. It seems to make a pretty good, seems to be a pretty good idea, but you just don't really face it that much, and then all of a sudden the Terran player is just so powerful with all their production that you find yourself facing battles that you just are much harder than usual. So this game is going to take a minute or two to develop, so while we're waiting for that, just want to say thank you guys so far for sending me all your replays. If you want to have your replay casted, make sure you send me it at gdoggcasey SC2 at gmail.com, and I'll be happy to get to it as soon as I can. Had a drone scout out here, pretty interesting. What did he see? Okay, he saw stuff. Pretty much regular stuff. I guess he just wanted to make sure that he wasn't going to be getting 2 racks or anything like that. I still prefer keeping the drone at home, but I do lose to 2 racks from time to time, so, you know, maybe that's why, I don't know. But here we go. TVZ. I was about to say that it's been forever since I casted one, but then I remembered that we already did World is Doom versus that player from Team Next. Can't remember his name right now. But yeah, that was a TVZ. It was a really good one too. So hopefully this one's just as good. Wild's got his Overlord in position to spot for this Reaper moving out, as well as being a pretty easy position to move in and poke to see if the expansion is going down on the low ground and to see what's going on behind this little wall here. It's pretty important to know what the Terran player is doing behind that. Meanwhile, on Wild's side, everything looking pretty standard. He's got 3 guys in gas mining, going to try to get that Zergling speed. I like this 6 Zerglings instead of 4. Just helps with his Reaper a little bit. And the Zergling's going to be popping just in time here. Needs to get back and defend against that Reaper. Doesn't want to lose any drones. Looking like that's going to be fine for a while. He's going to push this Reaper back. But for the most part, this Reaper is doing its job. Just getting the scout off. We don't see a second Reaper, so he's not really meant to do a lot of damage. In fact, forcing out 6 Lings is pretty good already. Nice micro jukes coming here from EATMYDICTION. Needs to be careful not to lose that Reaper, though, and down it goes. That Reaper is dead and is not going to pose a threat anymore for the Zerg player. But he did delay speed quite a bit. In fact, 3 guys remaining in gas after speed starting here. That could be a scary sign for our Terran player. As he places down his second command center, getting a starport as well, pumping out some Hellions. Everything super duper standard so far. Yeah, I mean, okay, so we got the lair starting. Pretty early lair at 5:30. If I'm honest, that's incredibly early. Not sure what that's for, except for that, you know, the obvious answer would be most likely a Spire. 2 base Spire is pretty good, but I feel like this is a little bit early. I don't know if Wild is really going to be able to get up as many drones as he wants to really afford 2 base Spire. But we'll have to see. Maybe he'll make me look silly. Although, you know, I at least play Zerg, so I know a little bit. Alright, sorry about that little cut there. Something happened where StarCraft 2 just sort of minimized. Pretty sure it showed my desktop, which didn't have anything really worth mentioning on it, but I'm going to just cut that out. Just, you know, for the sake of not having my desktop displayed. I don't even remember what it showed. Here we go, Viking popping out here. Really good, going to be able to pick off this Overlord and future Overlords as well. Getting a good scout, though, is Wild. He sees Stim starting. He sees the second base moving out. Again, see, we have the second base moving out after it was built on the high ground. A lot of Terrans will eventually just start, like once you hit the Platinum Leagues and Diamond League, you start building this command center on a low ground because you're not really too worried about things. You know, you have the Hellions out on the map, so you can defend against this type of thing. But Wild knows it's coming. These Hellions do have map control for now, although Zergling speed is finished. That Spire is going down as predicted. No Baneling Nest, though. So if there was an armory, this would be an incredibly strong attack, but alas, there is not. These Hellions are just for map control. There's a nice amount of them. In fact, if I was Wild and I poked out and saw this, I'd be incredibly worried about Hellbats coming in. But EATMYDICTION is not doing that this time. But you can see what I mean. There's only 3 drones on the natural. I mean, he's behind the Terran player in workers. And Terran also has mules, so his economy right now is really not where it should be. So yeah, he's going to get these mutas out. He's going to be able to get like 4 to 5 at the most. And then that's kind of going to be it. You know, so they have to do a lot of damage, or he has to at least drone up like a madman behind it and keep EATMYDICTION at home. But these Hellions are doing so much damage. They picked off a queen. Every single Zergling here. They can actually just run in. Don't be scared of one queen. EATMYDICTION, a lot of Terran players end up missing out on tons of damage they could be doing because they're scared of one queen. So here he comes moving in. Now, though, he's got to be careful. The Zerglings are going to be popping, but he's killing so many drones here in the mineral line. Needs to find a better position as tons of Zerglings are coming in. Okay, that's a lot of Zerglings. Eventually, they're all going to get cleaned up. How many workers went down? Okay, well, 5 workers go down, and you'd think that that's really not a lot of damage, especially since he's going to end up losing like 10 Hellions. But, well, 3 more join the fray. A little bit of micro, these guys can stay alive. Oh, 1 goes down. Oh, the second one almost goes down, but no, they all survive. Well, 2 of them survive out of like 12. But yeah, so 5 workers killed isn't really a crazy amount, but he didn't really have a lot anyway. The Terran player is still far ahead. I'm not sure what that really is all about. Did I miss something? I feel like I don't know. I don't know what that's all about. Where are your mutas, dude? You built a really early Spire. You got to start making some mutas. Here we go. 5 on the way. Spinecrawler going down. You know, too little, too late, I think, but nice to have in any case because he doesn't have any Zerglings at all. And if EATMYDICTION knew that, he'd be having a field day over here. But yeah, I mean, so again, we're seeing what I was mentioning before. There's just really no drones over here at the second base, and this attack is going to fizzle out pretty quickly. You know, if he needs to get a crazy amount of damage done with these low amount of mutas in order to really justify the amount of workers he has. Meanwhile, EATMYDICTION doing really well here, building extra barracks, trying to keep his money down, get some reactors on these guys, building some turrets. As he did spot the mutas coming across the map. He knows they're here. There's only 5. Doesn't really have a ton of Marines. Going to be checking for a third base. This could prove deadly for a while, checking for this third base, because he's delaying these mutas. Now, only 1 missile turret in the mineral line. These missile turrets are not going to be able to finish, as these Marines are going to try to get in position to pick off these mutas. And, I mean, there's only 5 mutas, so this amount of Marines is actually pretty good. Going to be able to kill them off, or at least shoot them away. And we got another attack coming in from the Zerglings. He's going to try to break through, but this wall is nice and strong. EATMYDICTION playing really well this game, sort of closing off every avenue of attack that his opponent is trying to do. Down goes that Overlord, just got murdered by 3 turrets. And, I mean, you got 4 mutas left, and you're trying to make... Yeah, I mean, you're trying to make Zerglings and Overlords here. This is why I don't really like this play. Right, and I feel like I've been kind of talking down the Wild a little bit. You know, the amount of times I apologize or I say that I'm not trying to sound like that, maybe I am just a little bit of a douchebag, and if so, I'm really sorry. But I'm just trying to help out a little bit here. This Viking going to be going down. Spots what is here in the base of Wild. Even gets a scan down too, just to make sure all those units are still there. They are still there. And now we got a little bit of drones coming out here. Pulling out of gas, that was actually a pretty good idea, realizing that he's banking up quite a bit of gas and doesn't have the minerals to afford it. And it looks like, I mean, see, these Banelings are being morphed in a defensive position, but I have a feeling Wild is going to try to move across the map. But the production for EATMYDICTION is just really good. Could be a tiny bit better. We see some buildings not producing. I mean, you might as well make some Hellions, right? But look at this money. Last time we cast EATMYDICTION, his money was up there, like quite a bit. But this time, with this 2-base style of play that he's sticking on here, really managing to spend his money much better. And yeah, I mean, what are we going to see out of Wild here? It looks like he is going to end up moving out, keeping some Banelings at home, I guess, for defense, which could be helpful. EATMYDICTION looks like he's thinking about a third base. We'll see. Is he building it over here? Ah, ninja third base. I like that idea. Ninja bases for Terran are pretty good because, I mean, that third base just gives you so much more production power. And if it goes unscattered, but it does not go unscattered. Wild has spotted it. Although he's okay, here we go, yeah. He's moved past it, or move command past it. He's actually going to be able to pick off this SCV, and that's a little bit annoying, so yeah. Third base not going to work here. If I was EATMYDICTION, that happened, I'd be like, alright, screw it, I'll just go attack him now. You're going to have +1 armor, combat shields as well. Taking a look at the upgrades, we have Zergling speed and Baneling speed, +1 attack, stim, and combat shields for the Terran player. And concussive just finished as well. Really not a lot of upgrades for either player, especially the Zerg guy, who's continuing to make just units here. It looks like he is definitely going to be going all in here. Try to get as much damage as he can, but this army is scary for EATMYDICTION. And he's heading in a direction where he could cut the army off, so it looks like Wild's going to be moving back home. And this type of push is designed to kill the third base. And we can even see it's rallied past the third base, which, you know, is going to surprise EATMYDICTION when he sees that there's no third base there. And EATMYDICTION is like, he's going gung-ho on this. He's got 5 barracks. He's not building a third command center. I kind of like this idea because it just, you know, it gives you less to think about. Medevacs have to be careful they don't get picked off by mutas. The mutas are going to pick off these medevacs, it looks like, but the Marines and Marauders are stimming up, pulling back. A lot of Banelings going off on Marauders there and Halbats, and now the Marines are shooting Mutalisks out of the sky. There's a little bit of roaches down in the bottom here, but with no third base, looks like EATMYDICTION is going to try to shoot, or just try to stim right past this. He doesn't have any medevacs though, so he's a little bit overstimmed, and eventually this is going to get cleaned up. But he killed every Mutalisk. So that's totally worth. As Wild is pushing out now with about 7 roaches, going to try to get some damage done on the counterattack. But there's just so much here for EATMYDICTION. He can even load up a drop and still have enough back at home to defend. These Marauders are going to prove really useful against the Banelings, and the switch into roaches is roach speed coming down now. Not going to finish in time though. I like that he's reinforcing with speedlings. A really good idea. Actually may be enough if everything meets up together. Here comes EATMYDICTION, gonna try to deal with this here, stimming up. Gonna pull back a little bit. Yeah, there just wasn't enough Zerglings to defend this, and the drop is coming in as well as he's cleaning up all the roaches. There's a lot of Marauders here doing really good against the roaches. In comes a drop in the main base. Gonna try to pick off as many drones as he can. +2 about to finish. Everything just looking good for EATMYDICTION here. There's not even a response here. He's killing all the drones in the main. 22 drones have gone down. Finally, the Zerglings come up, but EATMYDICTION just picks up and says, yeah, well, you know, your Zerglings can't really jump in the sky and take down my medevac. That would be terrifying and totally imbalanced. Oh. Alright, so Wild is looking like he's just trying to joke around. That was a pretty devastating drop. Yeah, I don't know. EATMYDICTION not really taking it as a joke. It's one of those things where, like, you know, you add the little P face on the side to make it seem like you're joking, but you probably didn't mean it 100% as a joke. That doesn't matter. EATMYDICTION is in a commanding position. 66 workers to 15, and it's really all over but the crown at this point. This medevac is going to get harassed by a few mutas. No economy, no candy. That's definitely true. Yeah, and that's going to get taken out. A little bit sad. But the rest of EATMYDICTION's army is here to take on the rest of Wild's army. That was the entire army of Wild. He's going to GG after he loses that. Well played. There we go. There's the Manard. As that was very well played from EATMYDICTION. Basically was just never in a tough spot. I think Wild did him a bit of a favor with his build, if I'm being totally honest, because that build, like, the build was meant to defend against, like, you know, early Hellbat pushes and that kind of thing, but you get the Spire so early and the lair so early that you don't have enough drones to supplement it, and that's kind of what we saw, where Wild was basically playing from behind the entire time. so it just didn't go all that well for him. But that being said, EATMYDICTION did a much better job with his macro this time. Getting those upgrades. We take a look at the upgrades. He's got +2, +2. He's even getting some mech upgrades, because why not? You got a couple Hellbats mixed in there. Might as well do it up. One thing I'd like to see is a bit more medevacs. Looks like you know, the medevacs were a little bit underproduced here. Didn't matter in this game, of course, but you know, in a game where your Zerg opponent can kind of keep up with you on macro, those medevacs are really helpful. You can do more drops, and you can just sustain your stims a little bit more. But I gotta say, man, it was a really well played game from EATMYDICTION. Nicely done. Thank you for sending me that replay. Nice to cast one of your games once again. And guys, if you want me to cast your replays, send me those emails at gdoggcasey SC2 at gmail.com, and I'd be happy to cast them. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. I will talk to you guys later.